Right, so if you're a PM working in AI, you know that feeling, right? That sinking pit in your stomach when the monthly cloud bill lands. It can be a silent killer for some really cool projects. So in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on those costs and give you a real framework to finally get them under control.
Man, this quote just hits the nail on the head. See, with old school software, adding one more user costs, what? Pretty much nothing. But with AI, every single tap, every query, every interaction, it costs you real money. It hits your bottom line. And if you get that balance wrong, your super popular viral feature could actually be the thing that bankrupts you. Think about that.
Okay, let's get right to it. We need to identify the main villain in this story. It's this one line item. It can kind of hide in plain sight on your expense report, but trust me, it is the #1 threat to your product's profitability.
And that villain, it's called inference cost. Simply put, it's the cash you burn every single time your AI does its thing, makes a prediction, generates an answer. This isn't some one-time setup fee. Nope, it's a constant, ongoing cost that actually gets bigger the more successful you are. For us PMs, this is our cost of goods sold, our COGS. It's that fundamental.
So, imagine your CFO storms over to your desk asking why the AWS bill just tripled. You can't just shrug and say, it's the AI. That's not gonna fly. As a PM, you need a real plan. And you know, the first step of any good plan is to break the problem down into smaller, much more manageable pieces.
So the first thing we do is pull out a classic business framework. We're just gonna separate all our costs into 2 big buckets. On one side, you've got your fixed costs. That's stuff like salaries, R&D, the things you pay no matter what. But over on the other side, that's the dragon you gotta tame. Those are your variable costs. They go up and down directly with user activity. And guess what's hiding in there? Yep, that's where our sneaky inference cost lives.
But here's the good news. We don't have to reinvent the wheel here. There's already a well-worn path from classic business strategy that we can follow to track down exactly where every dollar is going.
And this is the roadmap. Right here, it's perfect. You start with that big, scary cloud bill. Then you split it into fixed versus variable. Then you keep digging into the variable part until you find the golden formula. Cost per inference times the number of API calls. And this is huge. Seriously, because you just went from one giant terrifying number to 2 specific levers that you, the PM, can actually pull.
Okay, so knowing that equation is great, but where do you actually use it? As a product manager, when do you take action? The answer is pretty much everywhere, all the time, across the entire product lifecycle. Now, this lifecycle diagram, you've probably seen it a million times. But here's the key insight for AI products. Cost isn't just something you think about during development or after your launch. No, it is a thread that runs through every single one of these stages, from the very beginning when you're choosing models to how you price it, all the way to deciding to kill a feature. Cost management is your job as the PM from start to finish.
Let's get specific. So, way back in the analysis phase, you're already making huge cost decisions. Like, do we go with this smaller, cheaper model or the big, powerful, expensive one? Then, in development, you're in the trenches with your engineers, optimizing code. After you launch, you're basically glued to your dashboards, watching that cost per user metric like a hawk. And yeah, sometimes you have to be the bad guy and make the call to sunset a feature that's just bleeding money. Okay, so you get it. You need to take action. But what do you actually do? What are the specific tactics you can use to bring down that cost per inference number? Well, let's open up the detective's toolkit.
This table right here, this is your cheat sheet, and I want you to pay close attention to the trade-offs. Look at something like batching inferences. You can get huge savings with a really low impact on quality. That's a massive win, especially for things like analytics, where you don't need an answer that second. Caching is another no-brainer, right? If 1,000 people ask the exact same thing, why pay for the AI to figure it out 1,000 times? You pay once. But then, look down at rate limiting. Sure, it saves money, but look at that impact on quality. It's high. It can really tick off your users. As the PM, this is your world. This is the balancing act. You've got to sit down with your tech lead, look at this list, and decide which tools you're going to use for your product.
When you boil it all down, you're in this constant tug of war between just 3 things: cost, latency, how fast it is, and quality. The old saying is you can pick any 2. It's almost impossible to get all 3 perfect. So the most critical question you have to answer as the PM is, which one are you willing to compromise on for your product?
All right, let's zoom out for a second. Because this whole thing, It's not really about pinching pennies. It's not just about shaving a few bucks off your cloud bill. It's about something way more fundamental to whether your product lives or dies.
Because here it is, the big takeaway. Managing your inference cost isn't about saving money. It's about earning the right to scale. Think about it. If every new user you add costs you more than they're worth, then your own growth, your own success is going to be what kills you. Getting a handle on your COGS is the only way to go from a cool AI tech demo to a real, sustainable business.
So I'll leave you with this final, critical question to ask yourself. Is your AI a feature, a product, or a business? Because a cool demo, that's a hobby. An AI feature that's hemorrhaging cash? Well, it's just a feature. But an AI solution with a managed, predictable, scalable cost, that's a real product. That's a business. And the difference between all three? Well, it's hidden right there in the details of your GPU bill.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe and like.